How to make your business known locally with very little money. My name's Billy McGarry, and in the next 20 minutes I'm going to show you how to be everywhere so everybody knows your business without spending hardly any money. Now I know what you're thinking, Billy, this is another one of those funny videos where you're just trying to get me to click, but I promise you it's not. I've been doing this for over 12 years and we're going to talk about Meta and Instagram, and I'm going to show you some of the things that people don't do very well and how you can capitalize on that, because marketers are very good at what they do, business owners are very good at handling their business, but they think that they are actually good at marketing. And if you go and look at the way people position their ads, they don't think about some of the things that I'm going to talk about here, which when they're pointed out are extremely simple, and I'm going to do that today. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with headlines, creatives. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy and a bit about customer journey. These are all marketing buzzwords, but you would have heard some of these terminologies. And I just want to say now, Meta is by far the cheapest way to reach the most amount of people. It really doesn't cost a lot, and I'm going to show you something here. All it costs you is creating your content. And you can make creating content fun anyway. I like doing it. You learn a lot from it. If you start creating a lot of content, you can learn a lot about what works, what doesn't work. But I'm going to go through some of this right now today. So when people think about their marketing, what they don't think about a new customer, like a new customer that doesn't know you and hasn't heard of you. They don't trust you. So it's a bit like, I always use this analogy. If I was a PT, I might be in good shape. I've been doing it for a long time. And then someone walks past my house and I just ran outside and shouted at them, let me PT you for £160 a month or £150 a month or whatever. Even if they needed a personal trainer, they'd probably look at me like I needed to go to the loony bin, because they don't know me. They're definitely not going to give me any money. They know nothing about me. They don't know if I've got any results. So the trust element's not there. And this is the same online as it is offline. And I think what happens, people tend to forget about normal human psychology or behavior. It doesn't change online. You have to bring what's in the real world and then put it online. And it's a little bit more difficult because you're trying to get someone to understand exactly what it is that you're saying, especially on platforms like Meta, because they're scrolling. It's not like you can sit them down and have a meeting with them and then explain everything in detail. So understanding a customer journey is important. And people need around, I don't know, the stats, this is proven, stats say that someone needs to consume around 7 to 11 hours of your content, or 11 to 20 touch points, whether that be they see a video, you send an email, a text message, a like, they've been on your website. But the easiest and most effective way I find now in 2025, 2024, and it's not going to change in 2026, is by getting them to consume video content about you, your business, and what you do. And let's be honest, drop my pen. The easiest way to sell something to someone is a demonstration, because they can see what you're doing, they can hear what you're doing, and there's different points of communication that the prospect or the customer's taking in, so they can make a decision, a more informed decision, if you like. So customer journey is important. Customer journey, strategy, it's the same sort of thing, but you need to think about that a little bit. And when I say strategy, I mean about how, when you get someone interacting with your stuff online, how are you then getting them to see you again, or how are you retarget them? If you don't know what retargeting is, there's a great video on this channel about the pixel and about how you do that. Google's the same. Just go and find that video. But these things need to be thought through. It's not just a case of let's make some adverts and some images and say buy my stuff now, put it online and expect everybody to come bundling through the door. It just doesn't work like that. If it did, everyone would be a multi-billionaire. I mean, you've only got to look at why. I'll give you an example. The reason the John Lewis advert gets everybody every year is because it's emotional. It takes someone and it brings them into that place where whatever that advert's saying, like the one with this year that's just gone with the music, you know, you've got middle-aged men like me getting brought into that advert about, crikey, I remember what it was like just to be on that dance floor again. If you haven't seen any of the John Lewis adverts, they're great ones to study about all the emotional pulls and the language that they use and how they're using human psychology to get an emotion out of someone. And that's ideally what it is you're trying to do. You're trying to get someone to do an impulse action, really, but you do that by creating a feeling, whether it be a feeling of trust, a feeling of sad, I don't know, whatever that feeling is that you're trying to create, it will make someone take an action, or it'll stop them from taking an action. You know, if someone doesn't trust someone, your little senses start flaring up, and you don't want, oh, hang on, there's something wrong with this person. So that's what needs to be thought about in strategy. And then once you've done that, you need to start thinking about your creative and how that works with your headline. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, what are you on about headlines? The headlines are so important. And a great example of this is if you look at magazine publishers or the editors or the people that write the copy for the front covers are some of the best copywriters in the world, because they have to get someone that walks in a shop, looks at a magazine, and it has to snag them to then buy the magazine, or a newspaper, and they use formulas for headlines. And there's many different formulas you can use for headlines, but they do capture their attention. If they're in the scroll, the reason they work is if you're in the scroll, you might see the reel or the image, and then the headline in the copy that's at the top, you can get that to stand out, or the headline actually on the creative. I normally use them both, so I've got 2 or 3 points of headlines trying to capture the attention of someone that I'm trying to market to. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. So, you know, I'm going to give you 3 examples here. These are real simple ones. I mean, there's loads of formulas for this, but if I step over here, so a good one is, and you would have seen this, you know, when you're scrolling through and you read a headline, it grabs your attention, but it goes against the grain of what people think. It's intriguing, or you think, that's not true, let me read that. So a claim against what people think. So how fruit will make you fat. And most people reading that would be like, that's a lie, what's that all about? So they click on it. Thing is, if you don't exercise and you just eat bowls of fruit, there's a lot of fructose sugar in fruit. Well, fructose sugar is sugar at the end of the day. Obviously, it's better than refined sugar, but it's still sugar, so it will cause you a problem. It's not just about eating fruit in that scenario. It's about all the other things that go with it to keep the weight off of you. So that would be a headline for that. A how-to one, real simple one. Everyone loves how-to, and depending who it's directed at, who your customer is. So, how to increase traffic to your website without a marketing budget. Now, everybody loves being able to increase something without spending something, and it's not a lie, there are ways that you can do that, but you've got fast and slow, but that would then get someone to click and then start reading your article about the information that you're giving them. And as long as it's useful and helpful and you're not lying, you're going to get some traction with that. My favourite one, which I got from Frank Kern, is the dog whistle. And this is easy. I use this for a lot of clinics. It works all the time. I got this actually from a book. So basically the headlines, read this to take better photos. Read this if you want to get fitter in 7 days. Read this if you want your marketing to work without spending a lot of money. So what you're doing is you're attacking, so take better photos. Obviously the target and everything's going to be aimed at photographers. But if someone wants to take better photos, they're going to look at that. And I got that dog whistles actually from books, and it works particularly well, if I'm honest. I use that. That's a real basic one that you can just test. You know, if you're doing it and you're localised, you say, if you're from your town. So if you're from Deal, read this to ABC. Or aesthetics again, ladies of Kent or ladies of Deal, ladies don't miss this. ladies, you need to read this. These are ones that we use for aesthetic clinics. They sound really simple, but one thing that I was always taught, simple works. And the reason that simple works is because if someone's got to spend more than a few seconds when they read something, especially a headline, they'll get annoyed and scroll past it because they've got to use too much energy from the brain to try and understand it. And a confused customer is one that won't buy. So you need to really try and deliver the message so they understand it as fast as possible. Because in this day and age, with the way that we scroll, I think our attention span's less than a goldfish now. It's something like 3 seconds or something like that. So if they can't in 3 seconds flat understand what it is that you're saying, they're going to just scroll past or leave. And that's the same for your websites, for your landing pages. Just digressing on a landing page, if you don't know what a landing page is, it's like a one-page sales page. We'd have the main headline and then we'd have sub-headlines. I mean, that's another video altogether. So you want to think about how you're going to reach, how you're going to get someone that's cold to trust you to then engage with you. And that's going to be covered over here in a moment, because I'm going to actually show you and explain to you exactly a method that you can do on Facebook and Instagram that is exceptionally well. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and you can do it within a localized area, so you're only hitting a small amount of people. So the smaller group of people with a smaller budget, localized, like Deal, I think it's got like 35,000 people in it. So once you start targeting people, that's going to be even less. So you're going to have even less people that you need to target. And I'm going to explain how it's going to work in a moment. So hopefully you've taken some of this stuff on board of what I'm saying. This is really basic. You know, I can go on for ages in depth doing trainings on these, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. You know, you just need to think, right, what's my headline? What's my creative? Can people understand what my headline's saying fast? Can people understand my creative? Now, a video, again, because you can have audio and visual, so you can have a voiceover, you can be in it like this. I'm always in my videos. Again, people buy from people, and if you're comfortable on camera, or if you're not, learn to be, because then people will get used to seeing your face, and the more that we see a face, the more that we trust that person, all right? As long as they're not doing anything dishonest, of course. So, I know what you're thinking, this is all well and good, Billy, but how do I take this and then turn it into a strategy on Instagram? I'll give you an example. So I do a lot of reels. You probably would have seen mine going around because I use this strategy. And let's just say that you create all your content, but you're going to want to do around 14 different bits of content. So whether that be videos or whether that be images, you can mix them together. You could even do 30 pieces of content. Okay. The reason the more content they use, the way that Meta is now with Andromeda, the more content it's like a content. It's hungry for content all the time. So the more content that you've got, the more that you're going to get shown, and your competitor in your industry isn't going to get shown. Quick example: you've got one bit of content running, one advert. Someone clicks on it, they don't engage on it. Andromeda will show. They'll think, oh, the customer likes what that person's talking about, but maybe something was wrong because they didn't take action. Let's show a load of competitors' stuff to that customer so that it's customer friendly. Do you see what I mean? Because they want to show the right content to the right people. So Andromeda is like, right, okay, this person's interested in this. Maybe that ad wasn't very good, and there's a whole different video that I've done on relevance and the scoring that Meta will give you for your ads, above average, all that stuff. That all affects your ad campaigns, but again, that's separate. So let's just say you've got 14 bits of content, right? So what you want to do in Facebook is you want to, first of all, you need to figure out who it is that you're targeting. So for me, it's small business owners, let's just say in my local area, whatever your business might be. If it's an aesthetics clinic, you could be, it's going to be women of a certain age that do certain treatments. You have to write all this down. And this is all part of the strategy, what people don't sit there thinking about. So what you would do is you've got your person, your avatar, let's just say, that you want to do your targeting with. Now, your bits of content are going to be specifically helping these types of people. So for me, I talk about a lot of marketing stuff, different subjects. I chop all my reels up, create them all, and then we run them all. So what you do is you make one campaign. So you've got a campaign level like that. And then what you want to do is within that campaign, because you've got 14 ad sets, 14 bits of content, you're going to have 14 ad sets. So your ads are going to be like this. 1, 2. This isn't the ad creative, it's the ad set. So they're all separate. Okay, because what happens now is some people, if you put, and again, you can test creatives like this, but we're not doing that. They'll get one ad set, and then they'll put all the images in the actual creative bit that's different. And then what happens, Meta will then distribute the ad spend to the ones that are doing performing better. Right? You don't want to do that with this. This is completely different. So I won't do 14, but let's just say these are all ads. Okay. The objective, this is really important. When you select an objective, it does completely different things, or Meta will do completely different things. So if you're looking for conversions and sales, it's going to look for people that are going to buy your product. We're not at that stage yet, because you'll lose a lot of money if you do that straight away, especially in a service-based business. Well, you're not for leads. You can start that way, but I would suggest, if no one knows you, I would suggest getting people to know you first, and then you can do some retargeting afterwards. Now, each one of these, this campaign is a reach or an awareness campaign. Okay, now the beauty of a reach and awareness campaign, you can get hundreds of thousands of views for next to no money. Okay, and this is really important. So reach and awareness campaign, and it's going to be localized. So let's just take Deal for example, or your local town, put your radius around there. It's going to be a really condensed audience. Even if it comes up on the side and it says red and it's too narrow, just ignore it, still do this. Right? Each one of these ad sets is going to have £2 on it a day. Right? £2 a day. £2 a day. Okay, you're probably thinking, oh, that's not a lot of money, but if you put all that together, obviously it's 2 times 14, so it's like £28, I think. £28 a day. Still not a lot of money to reach a hell of a lot of people. Now, the beauty of this and why it works is in Meta, you can show people your ads a certain amount of time in a certain amount of days. So the standard thing is, if I set one ad up, one ad set, this top ad, the person who's looking at it will see that ad once in 7 days. Okay? You can follow me, you're probably going to see what I'm going to do now. So then, if on the first day they see this ad, okay, they're also going to see this ad. So they're going to be seeing you twice with 2 different bits of content in the same day. Now, over the course of 7 days, they're going to see that all the time. So every day there's going to be 2 different bits of content coming up every day. Now, what you want to do is you want to keep the targeting the same. Okay. Keep the targeting the same. You can even keep it open. You can test. What you could actually do is you could do one that's got the targeting, and one, if you don't know what targeting is, you can select like small business owners, male, female, demographics, birthdays, interests, all that stuff. You could have an interest stack with your targeting, and then you could do one separate that's just age and gender, and just have it open but have it localized. And I would test those. But in a nutshell, what's going to happen, you get your marketing budget, and then over the course of those 7 days, you're everywhere. Okay? They're going to be seeing these bits of content all the time. And you just want to keep doing this, keep creating content and content. And then what happens, it's like anything. If you're online and you keep seeing someone all the time, you know, we're instantly, it's bred into us to think someone's famous or someone's trustworthy because you keep listening to them and you keep seeing their content going around. So, you know, you can spend next to nothing with that budget and you can reach a hell of a lot of people. Now, what you're doing, if you set your pixel up, okay, and if you don't know what a pixel is, basically anybody that engages with anything, we can retarget. So these are just information with stuff helping, and what that's doing, that's positioning you in a position where they know that you can solve their problem, and they're getting to know you, they're trusting you, they're consuming or they're building their way up to the 7 hours worth of content that you need them to watch, or the 20 or 24 touch points that they need before they take action. All right, and then the pixel, what that does, we then either make our lead form ads. If you don't know what a lead form ad, I've done another video on that. Basically, that's just an ad where someone puts their details in, and then then they'd get contacted with an automated system, or you could send them to your landing page with a VSL, which is a video sales letter, and then getting someone to take action on your website. If you want to give them a quote, they want a quote or book a call, or however your business is set up, that's how that would work. And then you would make more adverts, okay, and then that would retarget this audience that you've built up here, and then you'd be asking someone to take action. I do a lot of them where I just get people to comment, and I'll send them the full training, which is what will be on this video. And that's how I build up people onto Instagram and for other people's Instagrams, and get them their ecosystem, if you like, of people built up, their tribe, so then you can keep engaging with them, and then hopefully eventually you can get in conversations with them so they can use your products and your services. Hopefully, I mean, there's a lot of information now. I've tried to condense it and keep it as simple as possible, but I should imagine you've got the gist of it. If you do have any questions, just drop me a message, a DM, and I can send you some other trainings or some other videos, or if you really are interested, you can send me a message and we'll book a call or something like that. That's not a problem at all. And then I can go over that a little bit more in depth, but I've just tried to keep it as simple as possible. So that's enough there on that. I do think if you just think about those 4 things, you're definitely going to get better results when you're trying to set your marketing up. And everything always got to have a plan, a strategy, and you've always got to think about your customer and who your ideal customer is, and how you're going to engage, or how you're going to talk to them, or how you're going to get them eventually to get in a conversation with you. All right? And I'll see you on the next video.